Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm Jeff Porter from the Indie Gamer magazine. Today, for our show, I wanted to talk a little bit about when games get abandoned, because this is something we see, and it can be really disheartening, especially when you really enjoy a game and you get into it, and then maybe a couple months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years down the line, there's just nothing more going on. The developers have kind of walked away from it, and it can be, just a big bummer. So what kind of got me onto this was there was a game that I had a lot of hope for, and it has been completely abandoned. And I popped into it last night for a little bit, and it's a shame because there was so much potential there, and there was so much that people enjoyed. They put a lot of work into it, and now it's just done with. There's not going to be any more updates. There's the social medias are completely gone. You click and try to find the Twitter and the Facebook. The pages have been taken down. So the game is called Outlaws of the Old West. It released in 2019. Yeah, March 12th, 2019. Developed by Virtual Basement LLC. They were published by Wandering Wizard. Outlaws of the Old West was a survival MMO with a very large world, thousands of items, building system, survive the wild, build your own homestead, defeat bandits, and work with others to tame the Wild West. So, a little background about my experiences with it. We'll get into how it's been abandoned, what state it's in, and kind of what's going on with it now. Obviously, since there's no development, it is still on Steam though. So I got into this about when it launched. I think I played that summer, so it was a couple months after launch, and I immediately loved it. I am already a huge fan of the survival genre. You put cowboys in there. We talked about Grit last week, the new arena shooter game where you're a cowboy. I'm all in. I love the idea. And starting from nothing, building up. You could build your own house. You could build. People built villages, towns, cities, farms, uh, anything you can think of. They built it. Crafting guns, ton of different guns, really cool guns. Uh, Crafting different clothing, stuff like farming, stuff like capturing horses, lassoing horses, taming them, lassoing cows and bulls and stuff, and starting a farm like that. There was a lot of cool things. Fishing nets, fishing traps. You go out and hunt buffalo if you wanted. You go kill bandits if you wanted. You could just stay around, farm, build your house, and do whatever you wanted. There was a lot of cool things that you could do in this huge world. The map was very large. The northern part, you had snowy mountains. They were very, very pretty. This was a pretty game. Very breathtaking imagery. I have some really cool screenshots, and I'll show you some on their Steam page here in a moment. Go down south, you get a lot of desert. In the middle, you have like plains and forests and different rivers, different lakes. It was a really cool world. Really cool world to create a cowboy or a cowgirl. Start from nothing, work your way up from a bow and arrow to a pistol to a rifle to building a mansion if you wanted. Crafting wagons, hooking your horses up to the wagons, building a train. So if you had to go down to the desert to mine, you build train tracks down there, load up your train, send it back to your base, ride back. There was a lot of cool things that were going on here. I'll change over, show you some of these screenshots because I think this is a good looking game. So you see, this is kind of the log cabin creation, the lighting, good lighting effects, good smoke. Go here, cool weapon textures. It looked good. Cool looking area, trees, mountains. You can see the crafting here a little bit as you're building. They had mines that you could build and go inside to try to find gold, silver. You could sell these to the traders that you could also craft and buy, or other players could craft and buy, and you could get cool stuff. Here you got a lightning effect from some weather. Here you're looking south towards the desert. Another cool shot of some weapons. It just that's a cool shot. Lassoing a horse. At bears. It was a good looking game. Now, that being said, it did suffer. It did suffer. Suffered from a lack of optimization. The controls were a bit wonky, to say the least. And bullets would ricochet all over the place. Bandits were nearly impossible to kill because of the AI was just god awful. That being said, so many people played through the early access because they saw the potential. This game had so much potential in its cowboy theme, wagons, building, horses, farming, bandits, that people looked past some of these things and said, you know what? They're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. This will turn out to be a good game. I thought the same thing. So I played it. I played it a lot. I think I have 60 some hours on it. I really enjoyed it. Until, if we go and we look at their update history, their last update was in June of 2020. And even then, it was just kind of some fixes for buildings and some other things like that. It didn't really add anything, didn't really fix anything. I'm sure there were a couple little bugs that they might have patched. But since then, it's been abandoned. And if you try to go to their Twitter, you try to go to their Facebook, everything is it's offline, it's gone. However, the game still remains on Steam for $20. Now, I will say I do still think this game might be worth $20. Especially if you can get in a server with some other people or play with some friends and stuff. But I don't know how developers can do that, to be honest. If you're going to create a game, you're going to work on it and you want it to be finished, fine, charge the $20. If you're going to abandon a game, I think it should either go free to play, let people download it for free, or take it off the Steam store. Because unless you're really paying attention, you're looking at the reviews, and even since it's been abandoned, the reviews are still mixed because it's still good. There's a lot of potential there. But there's not going to be any further development. And unless you really looked into it, you looked into their update history, you looked on their social media and saw that it wasn't there, and you scroll down, you look at all the comments. The publishers have abandoned the game, but it's still playable. So, when games get abandoned like this, what do you think should happen? Should the game go free to play? Were we promised a full game? Because I think we were. Do we have a full game? I guess that could be argued too. It's reached a playable state. We wish to involve the gaming community in the development process. This allows us to create a more enjoyable and distinctive game. Why it was in early access. So I have a really hard time with games like this and what should happen and what doesn't happen and how they're still sitting here selling it for $20. Do I enjoy the game? Yeah. Do I think it's playable? Yeah. So should they get $20? I suppose. I mean, it's their game. If you want to pay for it, you can pay for it. But when they abandon something like this, I feel like there has to be something more. There has to be something on Steam, something on the different video game stores that tells you this game is as is. The developers have abandoned it. You can play it, but just be aware. I have a really hard time with it, and I don't know how to explain it. It just got me thinking, because I was talking to somebody last night. We were talking about Grit. We were talking about Red Dead. We just talking about cowboy games in general. And of course, Outlaws of the Old West popped up, and I hyped it up, and I was excited. I'm like, dude, you gotta get it. You gotta get it. I forgot that I paid $20 for it. I assumed this was a free to play game. And once they head over to Steam and they were looking at it and they told me, and they were talking about the reviews, and they said that the developers have abandoned it. I had no idea. I thought by now, 2 years later, there's got to be some good development on it. There's got to be something going on, some good stuff. There's not. There's nothing going on. So I just feel like there has to be some kind of distinction, there's got to be something. And there's got to be some kind of way for, because I'm pretty sure there are modders who have kind of tweaked it and made it a little bit more playable. I think there were some personal private servers up that required passwords. So I'm pretty sure there are modders out there who have made it a bit more playable, but it's a strange thing when things like this get abandoned. They have so much potential. Could have been great. Could have rivaled other survival games. Think about like 7 Days, Conan Exiles, Ark even. I mean, like just right there, you have a survival game for each kind of. You got zombies, you got dinosaurs, you got barbarians. It's like, why not a cowboy one? So I think Virtual Basement, LLC, Wandering Wizard, I think they kind of dropped the ball. And with that said, I'm sure there are plenty of reasons why this was abandoned. In the description, I mentioned, games, they're not always cheap. They take a toll mentally, physically, financially. These developers go through a lot. In the magazine, we've interviewed over 150 developers. They all kind of have the same response. It's exhausting. And then when it's out there and people don't realize the sacrifices that they've made. Developers have sold their homes to finish their games, and most players don't even know. So I think there probably is more to the story, but just to leave a game unfinished like this up on the Play Store, Steam page, I don't know how I feel about it. That being said, it is a fun game, even though it's not finished, and there's still plenty to experience. There's lots of building, hunting, farming, basic survival, like I said, tool weapons, fishing, which I don't even think I think that's something that didn't get quite finished all the way, was the fishing. The building's pretty good. I don't have much issue with things kind of clicking and popping together. Um, Taming horses, the trading is a little wonky. The mines are a bit odd. But I mean, overall, it is playable. But just beware. So I think this is something that could be stretched out into a kind of a broader topic about just abandoned games, how they affect the gamers and why the developers abandoned them in the first place. Because there's always more than one reason, you know. So Outlaws of the Old West, it's been abandoned. I do think it's still playable. If you want to take a shot, it is. I mean, it's $20. I bought it when it was still in development, so that's kind of how I justify it. But if I was on the outside looking in right now, if I was you in 2021 looking at Outlaws of the Old West, I don't know how much you would get out of it for $20. Going into it knowing that it's not going to be finished, knowing that there's going to be bugs and issues, I don't know if I could justify it, but it is still there. So I kind of rambled on there a little bit about development and developers kind of abandoning their projects. Obviously, there's always multiple reasons, like I said. Kind of let me know in the comments below, or in chat, kind of your thoughts on abandoned games. Do you think they should stay up in the stores? Do you think they should still be sold? Do you think there should be a disclaimer or like a tag or something on the page saying, hey, you know, a little stamp here, this has been abandoned? Because it's a shame when stuff like this happens. But it happens. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit today. Have there been any games that you guys have played that have been abandoned? How did you deal with it? Do you still play it? Have you kind of just passed, like moved on from it? Let us know in the comments below as well. And if you've ever played Outlaws of the Old West, do you think that for $20 somebody could buy this and enjoy it in the unfinished state that it is right now? I'm on the fence about it. Some people that I know and I know would enjoy that kind of game, I might say, you know, it's like I said, it's $20. I might suggest it if I was just openly like this, saying like, hey, here's Outlaws of the Old West, you should download it. And not knowing your play style, what you like, what other games you like, I don't think I could justify it. So kind of want to talk about abandoned games for a little bit here. Outlaws of the Old West was kind of a more recent one that I encountered that was a bit of a bummer when I found out. So that's today's show, talking about abandoned games. Let me know. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know in the comments. And I will see you guys. Today is Wednesday. I will see you guys Friday. The new magazine is out. If you want a digital copy, head over to indiegamermag.com. Click on the shop. You can download a digital copy for $3. If you want to subscribe, get it every month, or subscribe to the print, head over to Patreon. You can also get to it from the magazine. So I will see you guys Friday, and hopefully it'll be a bit more of a livelier episode. I was kind of bummed out. I was kind of bummed out hearing the Outlaws was abandoned. I thought this was a great concept for a game, something that would do really well. So it's a bummer. It happens. I'll see you guys Friday.